welcome to Lawwiser. Today we have a very interesting discussion. We would be discussing about the newly released book, Chaff and Grain. It's been much talked about. It's based on the criminal justice system in India. And to discuss everything about the book, we have the author himself with us. We have senior advocate Mr. Vivek Sood, who will be discussing with us what made him actually write the book Chaff and Grain. Of course, such a unique title. And we are going to discuss more details and aspects about the book. Welcome, sir. Thank you for taking time and joining us today.
Thank you.
So, firstly, sir, congratulations on the release of your much-awaited book, Chaff and Grain.
Thank you.
And so, you are a seasoned writer. This is like your seventh book, and you have covered diverse topics. Very different privacy and commercial justice. And now you are covering criminal justice system in India through this book, Chaff and Grain. So, what really made you feel the need to write a book on this topic? If you could share your thoughts with the audience on this.
I've been a defense criminal lawyer for 3 decades now. And I found that there is not a single book on the Indian criminal justice system. So I found this to be a virgin territory. And whenever we open the newspapers, there is a general interest amongst readers to see the crime stories. Yes. From a school student to a housewife to a CEO, there is an interest in going through the crime stories, murder cases, rape cases, kidnapping, bail, jail, investigation. So I found this to be a topic that interests the widest spectrum of readership. And then, Sanya, I must share some experiences with you. Whenever I go to a party, I find people interested in the criminal justice system. They come up to me and they ask me, what happened in the Jessica Lal murder case? Who killed Arushi Talwar? So, I found this topic to be very vibrant and it generates interest amongst readers across all spectrums. So, this was the motivation behind this book.
Very interesting, sir. And obviously, masses are in generally interested as, last year we came across a lot of murder cases that happened and it incited a lot of interest among, the general public as well. So, you have covered some of these really known aspects in your book through different chapters. But how much, and you have a diverse background of practicing in criminal law as well. So how much of your experience in criminal law practice influenced the writing of this book?
Definitely, it has tremendously influenced the writing of this book. As I said earlier, I have vast experience on the criminal side. In fact, I tell my juniors, I tell my, interns that criminal law is in my DNA. It is in my blood. And this is a free-flowing book. It is my take on the Indian criminal justice system. It is on my brush with the Indian criminal justice system as a defense lawyer. So, it is full of my experiences and perspectives about the functioning and malfunctioning of the criminal justice system. Criminal justice system or criminal injustice system. So, that's it is full of my experiences.
True, sir. True. Yeah. Because of course, as a defense lawyer, there's so many aspects you would have come across that you have used in your book as well. So, you have actually also referred to this whole the title basically of the book, that is Chaff and Grain. It's a principle, one of the principles in criminal justice system. So, what's your take when it comes to this particular title, and why did you think of choosing Chaff and Grain as a title for the book?
In fact, the theme of the book is to separate the chaff and the grain of the Indian criminal justice system. So, I found this topic, I found this title to be very novel, and therefore, I have titled my book Chaff and Grain. Chaff and Grain is a very interesting legal principle evolved by the Supreme Court for the Indian criminal justice system. Now, let me explain this. In India, it is recognized that every witness who enters the witness box commits perjury. He lies on a platter. Testimonies are full of exaggerations, embellishments, falsities, lies. Now, if the United States legal system principle was to be followed, that where, if a witness commits perjury on one material fact, the entire testimony is rejected. Now, if that principle was to apply to India, every accused would go scot-free, because there is no testimony without falsity in the Indian criminal justice system. So therefore, this principle of chaff and grain has been evolved for the Indian legal system. It means the judge, while appreciating and analyzing the testimony of a witness, will separate the truthful part from the untruthful part. He will separate the chaff and the grain, and based on the grain, he will decide the criminal trial.
True. Well said, sir. Thank you for actually explaining what was the thought behind choosing this title. Of course, it's a very novel principle, and as you said, our audience also learns about it, that it's more for the Indian legal system that's there. That takes us to more in detail about the book. When we get, we kind of went through the book. We also came across this chapter 3rd on your book, which talks about, misdirected and manipulative investigations. So, if you can just explain a bit, how you have covered this in your book, and how does it really impact the criminal justice system in India?
In fact, in this chapter, I have coined an expression, malvestigation. It's an expression which I have coined for the first time. In this chapter, I have taken up cases, interesting cases that were very much highlighted in the media. The Jessica Lal case, Priyadarshini Mattu rape murder case, the Telgi scam, Arushi murder case, and the common thread in these cases is the manipulated investigation, unscientific investigation, poor investigation, shoddy investigation, corrupt investigation, dishonest investigation, investigation that was below par. And so, I have explored this aspect of the criminal justice system. Let me tell you, investigation is the backbone of the criminal justice system. If the investigation is bad, innocents can be falsely implicated, or criminals may go scot-free. So therefore, I have taken these interesting cases and I have written about these cases in a very journalistic, story-like format, that where is the problem in the criminal justice system in India? Investigation is a very big problem in the Indian criminal justice system. Then I have gone on to suggest reforms that we need in the investigative part of the criminal justice system.
Thank you, sir. That actually this kind of explained how, you have explained the concept of malvestigation in your book. Further, you have also kind of dealt in the bail justice system in India. We all know that in many cases, like it happens, there are false cases that we see happening these days, and accused at the end of it they are languishing in jail for years. This impacts their families and their lives very negatively. So, which is something you have also dealt in your, 4th chapter of the book. So, why is bail justice so complex in India? And do you really think it's like one of those neglected areas?
I would not say it is a neglected area. We have a very vibrant, proactive judiciary, right from the lower court, district court to the Supreme Court. Bail justice is complex for the simple reason, if we liberally apply the principle of bail, not jail, you will find criminals roaming the streets on bail. And if we conservatively apply the principle of bail, not jail, or if you apply the principle of jail, not bail, then many innocents may languish in jail for years together and finally being declared innocent by the courts. So that's why it's a complex area. And and I feel bail justice is best left to the judiciary. Recently, there is a judgment of the Supreme Court where the Supreme Court says that there must be a specific bail legislation. I do not agree with this proposition. So I've critiqued that judgment in my book.
Okay. That's interesting, sir, because of course you'd be, readers would be pretty excited to read about why you have critiqued it and what were the factors, given in the book. I'm sure once they read it, they'll get more details about it. That actually also takes us to another thing that, you have discussed some of the very popular cases, of, criminal cases that, that have been discussed widely in the media and otherwise as well. One of them was the Arushi murder case. So, you have kind of unraveled the mystery in your book as well. And, of course, everybody has just one question to ask. Are the Talwars really guilty? So, what's your take on this case? And if you can give some insights to our audience.
I knew this question, this Arushi murder case was coming. I have not unraveled the mystery. See, I'm not an investigator. I'm not a detective. But what I have done is, I have analyzed the two verdicts. One verdict of conviction by the Sessions Court, holding the Talwars guilty of murder of Arushi Talwar and Hemraj. And then you have a verdict of the High Court acquitting the Talwars. And now the matter is pending in the Supreme Court. In my view, the match is very evenly poised. So I have analyzed these two verdicts, and I have put my inputs, I have used my experience, I have used the legal principles, I have applied those principles to these verdicts, and then I have given my take that which of these two verdicts in my view is correct. I think I would not want to unravel the mystery. You must buy the book to understand it. But definitely, what happened that night, I have given my take. I have given my take. What happened, what would have happened, what must have happened, and what would not have happened that night. So, reading all the testimonies, evidence, circumstantial evidence, all that material, I have come to my own conclusion as to whether the Talwars are guilty or innocent.
Thank you, sir. Because, of course, that's like one of the most talked about cases. And, even now it keeps coming up in the media. And people have a lot of curiosity because nobody really knows if they are guilty or not guilty. So it would be interesting to read your thoughts on that, how you have analyzed, the aspects of prosecution and defense, and what's your conclusion been on that. That just takes us to our last question and the most important one. What readers, what type of readers? Usually what happens is when a book comes on a very technical topic or, something legal, we say it's kind of limited to the legal community. So what do you say about Chaff and Grain? What kind of readers can we expect, or who all can read the book? Because although it's about criminal justice system in India, but as you said, it covers wide variety of aspects, something that, general public relates to. So if you can, share something on that.
I have consciously written this book not only for the legal community. So it is free of, legal technicalities. It is free of, legal jargon. I have not put too many of those sections and section 304 and 302 and all of that. It is devoid of legal technicalities. I have consciously written this book for the general readers and of course the legal community consisting of lawyers, judges, law students, law professors, but I have kept the lay reader at the forefront while writing this book. Now, having said that, a book of this nature will have some technicalities, but I have tried to demystify the Indian criminal justice system, how it functions and how it malfunctions. And then I have gone ahead to redefine sedition. Should sedition be an offence in India? If so, how should it be worded so that it is not abused and misused by the law enforcement agencies. Then I have gone on to define social media abuse. So I have given my avatar of section 66A. 66A has been declared to be unconstitutional. How should it be worded? So I have given some cues to the policy makers. I hope the policy makers will take my suggestions into account and they will redefine these expressions so that the law is not misused. At the same time, social media abuse is appropriately punished.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your thoughts about the book and, letting our audience know what all it discusses in detail and who all can read, because we have also gone through the book and we really feel it's, something that's easier to understand by general public as well. So congratulations once again on the
Thank
release of
you.
the book, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.